Cabinet today on the 16th of June 2021. First item on the agenda is appointment of chair. I'll be chairing today's meeting. I would also like to welcome any members of the public and the press at today's meeting. Can I just repeat what was said prior to the scrutiny meeting, that I kindly ask you to observe the meeting only, as you are not allowed to speak or participate in the meeting. Could everybody please ensure that your phones are switched to silent for the duration of this meeting? In addition, I refer you to the protocols for remote meetings, which are previously highlighted in the scrutiny committee. Next item on the agenda is a roll call, so I'll hand over to Jane for a roll call, please.
Thank you, Chair. Councillor Clement Williams. Councillor Clement Williams. Councillor Harvey.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Doreen Jones.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Leanne Jones.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Latham, I marked you as present. Councillor Lockyer.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Rees. Peter Rees.
I'm present, Jane.
Councillor Richards.
Present, Jane.
Councillor Wingrave.
Present, Jane.
Can I just, Councillor Cara Clement Williams?
Jane,
Yes.
Cara Clement Williams, she's down in Margamordenshire having a vaccination.
Yeah, I can see her. I can see her. I'll mark her as present.
Thank you.
Councillor Reynolds.
I'm here and I can hear Carol in the background.
Councillor Harman. So
yes,
I can see.
Yes, I'm present.
And Councillor Llewellyn is observing. And if I go to officers now, Karen Jones.
Present.
Andrew Thomas.
Present.
Howell Jenkins.
Present.
Andrew Jarrett.
Present.
Nicola Pierce.
Present.
Craig Griffiths.
Present. Rhiannon
Crowhurst.
Present.
Peter Curnow.
Present.
Roger Bowen.
Present.
Julie Merrifield.
Present.
Charlotte Davis.
Present.
Is there anyone else participating in the meeting that I haven't called their name out? Where I can see no indications, Chair, so the roll call is completed.
Okay, thank you, Jane. Agenda item 3 is Chair's announcements. I have no announcements for today's meeting. Agenda item 4 are declarations of interest. I turn to Mr. Griffiths. I understand you have advice for members.
Thank you, Reader. Yes, just as what happened in the scrutiny committee earlier on, members, can I ask you to declare if you are a school governor and you'll be issued with the appropriate form from Democratic Services then to complete. So if you could just raise your electronic hand if that's the case, please. There we go. Thank you, members. We now have all of those, so you can please lower your hands. Can I ask then, after that, if there are any members who have any interest over and above being a school governor that they need to declare, please?
Chair, Councillor Harvey and Clement Williams have got their hands raised.
Sorry, Jane.
And it looks as if Councillor Clement Williams has frozen, has she?
Yeah.
Okay. Craig, you went through that rather quick. I didn't have a chance to put my hand up or down, so could you add me to the list, please?
I do apologise, Reader. Of course I can, yes.
Okay, thank you very much. Okay. Agenda item 5. Strategic School Improvement Programme, the proposal to establish an English medium 3 to 11 school to replace Alwen, Cordergraig, Llangegwig primary schools. The report and the accompanying appendices are on pages 3 to 58. Craig, could you just confirm for Cabinet the amendment to the report, please?
Of course I can, Reader. Yes, as mentioned in the scrutiny committee, under the implementation of the decision, it's implementation immediately with the consent of the scrutiny chair. So in this case, Councillor Reynolds. So can I suggest that once members have had an opportunity to discuss the matter of the report and before they move to the recommendation, they call in Councillor Reynolds to confirm she's happy to exercise her vote in that particular manner. Thank you, Chair.
Okay, thank you, Craig. Before I invite Andrew to add anything further. Can I, at this stage, thank every single participant from the Joint Scrutiny Committee earlier on for their contributions to what was a very lengthy, which you would expect anyway, and constructive debate, and compliments to all those who were involved. I've got to pay tribute to you, Andrew. You kept going. You've been there all afternoon along with all your officer colleagues. So on behalf of myself and my cabinet, my thanks to you and all the officers that are there with you this afternoon for taking us through the Scrutiny Committee meeting. Thanks, everybody. So on that point, Andrew, do you want to add anything further to what's been said before I ask colleagues if they have any questions or comments?
I don't think so, Leader. As you said, there was a really good Scrutiny Committee. There was lots of very pertinent questions asked and hopefully answered. So I'm happy to just take any questions now from cabinet members. But it was a good scrutiny. It was lengthy, as you say, and it needed to be. But no, happy to take any questions. Okay,
thanks, Andrew. Okay, Carol, can you hear us? Your hand is up.
Yeah, I've come to the car now, so I can go back in later, so it's fine.
So okay.
Oh, you're calling me in?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry. I made loads of notes and then I had to leave to come and have my jabs, so I'm gonna have to say what I just remembered. So for Pontardawe Pool, it's currently in the middle of
Carol, you're breaking up. I think the reception must be pretty
it might
poor.
be easy for some people to get there, but if you're coming from a survey, leave it then.
Carol, we can't hear you. I think it's fruitless. Oh, okay, thank you. Councillor Peter, Peter, I'll keep you till after if you don't mind. Mike, do you want to come in?
Yeah, thanks, Leader. I say it was very good scrutiny, and I say I'd like to pass on the same sentiments to Andrew for the way he conducted and the way he answered all the questions. There's been a lot of emphasis on the consultation process, but I was reassured by the words of the Chief Exec and by Andrew that will stand scrutiny in the long term. And again, when you looked at the number of responses against the figures provided there, it was 1.56, of the population for that area, the 15,000 people, 234 against. And again, with something like this, generally the people who are against are the ones who will respond to the consultation. Councillor Rosalind Davis stated Godra Graig school was a special case. It is, but all our schools are special. And when you look at this proposal, it's about providing a fantastic facility for the young people in Pontardawe. My son lives in Godra Graig. Hopefully, in the near future, they'll have children, and if they do, they'll have to travel from Godra Graig to the new site. Something like 3.2 miles. I'd be happy to go up there, pick the children up myself and drive them to the new school because it's such a fantastic facility. And as well as the new school, the community as a whole are having a new swimming pool, something which I think we've provided with a school build in other areas. It is always hard to shut schools, and probably the hardest job we have to do as councillors, or to look to shut them. And it is hard, and we've seen many times it's a very emotive subject, but I fully support this proposal. And one thing that needs drawn to attention was the expletive used at the end of scrutiny, I believe, if you listen to it on tape, by Councillor Nigel Hunt. We're in Cabinet, we're in a council meeting, we got members of the press there, we got members of the public there, and to use that language isn't on, and that needs to be looked at. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thank you, Mike. Andrew, any comments apart from, I wouldn't want you to comment on the last part of Councillor Harvey's comments.
No, I obviously I agree with Councillor Howey, and I empathise completely with the you know, the public. It is difficult. It's a very emotive thing. I would just again draw members' attention to the fact that where we've done this in the past, and many of you will be recipients of you know, school reorganisation proposals in your wards, they've always been successful, and you know, we don't leave these schools high and dry. We always support them during the implementation and the post implementation, and if this goes ahead, we'll be doing exactly the same thing again. There wasn't an awful lot of discussion around education in the 3 hours or so that we discussed, which is probably a little bit disappointing, to be honest. It was everything but education, and actually that's what we're here for. That's certainly what I'm here for, and I'm sure you're the same. I'm just trying to make things better for the young people of Neath Talbot, so in terms of their education. So I just want to say that.
Okay, thank you, Andrew. Councillor Clement Williams has posted that pretty much on that she wanted to say that the main point in all of this is the education of the kids, and it was only Councillor Anthony Richards who mentioned it in passing. The letter we received from the MS asked us to discuss education of the kids only, but the opposition were obviously not interested in this. Councillor Williams has said that her decision is going to be based on the best education of these young people. Okay. Sorry.
Chair, you've muted
Alan?
yourself.
Alan, okay.
Yeah, thank you. Well, actually, I don't want to just repeat what's been said. It was the point of education. We've been through this. I was on the voting committee to close the school up in Cummer. Not a good decision. Not a hard decision. A very hard decision to make, and a difficult one. Community, as Andrew said, feelings running high. But you know, as someone who's been involved in education, we want the best education for our youngsters within Neath Talbot, and that comes at a cost. If we are lucky to be able to draw money from a 20th Century Schools project, I think we should jump at it within the college and universities where I lectured. You know, that was always a problem with money and keeping up to date with facilities and up to date IT, etc. And here it is. This is going to be there for those young people of Pontypridd. I will be supporting this this afternoon to go through for the next stage of the consultation, because if there's any chance that those young people can have the best educational facilities, I think I can't see that it's any other way but to support that. And I'm sorry if I repeated what you may have said. Andrew, thank you very much for all your comments today. They were excellently put forward. Yeah.
Okay, thanks, Alan. Annette.
Thank you, Chair. I hope you don't mind me leaving my camera off, but my connection is very ropey today, and I nearly lost connection earlier on, so I have to leave my camera off. First of all, I think, you know, these children are our future, and when they look into their futures, they want the best education possible to get the best jobs they can get when they go out into the world. And futuristic buildings these days, new buildings, are built with economy in mind. You know, they're efficient, energy efficient, very little money goes into maintenance and running costs, which enables children to have more money spent on the facilities they need for their education. And that's something I think everybody has missed somewhere along the way. But I do have a question for you, Andrew. When we were dealing with Cumbrombil, I remember asking you, because there were so many issues raised about transport for children, and being a grandparent who does a school run regularly, I do know there are concerns. There have been sort of concerns that some children might not be able to get to school some days if it's in bad weather due to travelling time and what have you. And I asked you to look at Cumbrombil to see if we did ever get any issues with that, or complaints about the travelling time. And I know you said you did it. Were there any main issues? Did we have any, you know, big areas where children couldn't get to school for weeks on end, as they reckoned it would be the case, or anything?
No, nothing at all, Annette. Certainly to my recollection. We are dealing with a query at the moment from a parent who is questioning the after-school activity and the transport back up the Avon Valley. I've spoken to the head teacher to basically remind him of his responsibilities in terms of treating all people the same, and he fully accepts that. But he quite rightly said it isn't just people from the Avon Valley who have difficulty returning home from his catchment, but people sort of the far end of Carmarthen from Cumbrombil is a fair old trek as well. So it's something that he's very committed to. It's something that we do speak to our schools about. It is really, really important that once we've done these school reorganisation proposals, that the new school's catchment is just that, viewed as the new school's catchment, and the leadership of the school, including the governors, have a responsibility to their community, their school community, to treat everybody equally. And I've just quoted that for the sake of complete transparency and frankness, to make sure that you are aware that these issues do crop up, but they are dealt with, and the individual case I'm talking about now will be dealt with. But in terms of your question, Annette, no, we've never had trouble getting children to school from the Avon Valley that I'm aware of or can recall. The transport works very, very well.
Okay, that's lovely, and I'm sure that we all say the same, that every child deserves the same level of education in this borough, and that's what we're aiming for. Thank you.
Thank you, Annette. Leanne?
Thank you, Leader. It's more a comment really than a question. I'm probably going to reiterate what some of my colleagues have said here. It was a good meeting earlier, and the discussions and the questions that took place. I mean, the Chief Executive outlined and said, we are where we are, and obviously Andrew as well, you answered the questions extremely well, and we've got the evidence here to suggest moving forward as such. And as a parent of 3 children in the County Borough Council, 2 in fact who are in one of our new 21st century schools, education is the most important thing. And as colleagues have said, these children need the best start in life, and this medium school will do that for these 3 schools. I mean, I've seen firsthand in Kevin Syson the experiences there, the equipment they're going to have firsthand, albeit a secondary school. But I think as well, as an authority, we do want to nurture our children here, and we've invested over £200 million in our 21st century schools, and it is certainly something that we should be proud of. So I will definitely be supporting this recommendation this afternoon. I think it would be a marvellous addition to Pontardawe, and as colleagues have said, education needs to be at the forefront for these pupils.
Thanks, Leanne. Councillor Doreen Jones?
Thank you, Leader. I reiterate really what everybody else has said. Annette stole my thunder there with the travel, because I represent a school at the bottom of the Delight Neath Valley, and children have to come all the way down there. There are children again who go to preferred placements, and they manage to get their children to school on time as well. But the main thing is the education of the children at the end of the day. As has already been said, that is the future. And I'm quite sure that the teachers and the staff in those schools will carry on providing that education as well. Everybody's missed we've talked about the traffic, we've talked about every school in the county, I think, has got a problem, either when they're dropping off or when they're picking up. I try to avoid going out when they're doing that because of the disruption. But at the end of the day, what matters more is what goes on inside those schools, the education that those children are getting. And I'm quite sure that the staff from the 3 schools, once it's accepted and it will be accepted, as we've already said from previous experience, once they've done that, then, we should have, every child is entitled to a good education. And that's what we're trying to do for them. Thank you, Leader.
Thank you, Doreen.
Okay, Andrew, yeah?
Yeah, thanks.
You. Peter Richards?
Thank you, Chair. Being a member of this council for many years and being part of the initial concept of the 20th Century Schools project, Been fortunate to be part of it. I've totally read the report, been right over it. I read it, I don't know how many times. Listened to the debate today. I can understand, the consultation and members of the public and their concerns, because I think change is difficult. We've been through it in several other schools within our communities, and there's always been the outcry because it is a lot of change for people to take in. But what I will say, just to echo what my other colleagues have said, the standard and quality of education that we've been delivering through the schools that the change we've already done in the schools, it goes without saying. I have to support the decision today. The quality education delivered in these new settings is second to none, and to deprive our children of that, I can't accept it. So I will be supporting the decision today. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Right, I'll go to the other Peter now. Peter Rees.
Thank you, Leader. Kept the best to last, I presume. No comment, I noticed.
No, I'm following you, Pete.
Can I also thank Andrew and also Sonia for the way that you chaired that meeting? I thought it was really excellent. Well done, Sonia. And we met several times today, so it's but well done. Can I just say that as the cabinet member for education, this council has put the responsibility on it, the oversight of promoting high educational standards and delivery for efficient primary and secondary education throughout the county. Now, 21st Century Schools gives us that opportunity. Education shouldn't be a postcode lottery. It's a title people have said, and I thank my colleagues for the support that they've given today. Education is so important for every child in this county borough. And it's my responsibility to ensure that as far as possible we can do that. This school in Pontardawe will afford those children in that part of the county borough a 21st century education. And they deserve it. Of course they deserve it. But, and hopefully if there's more money coming and we get a band C or a band D, then we can expand our provision of 21st century school for these children. So there was a lot of talk about traffic and all the rest of it and in the scrutiny, but nobody mentioned, on very little was mentioned about the benefits of 21st century schools. The improved learning and educational facilities and experience for those pupils. Nobody mentioned that. The more sustainable terms of these schools as far as building sustainability. They're all BREEAM approved, and so I think somebody mentioned the efficiency of those schools. Greater equality opportunities and the IT facilities for pupils to broaden the curriculum delivery. That's important as well, and we can provide that within these schools. And I could go on. Those are the benefits of 21st century school buildings and the education. We already provide excellent education facilities. The quality of our teachers, and Sonia would have known this morning we met with Estin, and I actually mentioned the quality of our teaching force and our head teachers and so on. That will be maintained and enhanced, and that's the benefit of 21st century schools. And the added, I won't mention about the swimming pool because that's an added attraction and that's an added facility and something that will enhance the future of our young children as far as their health is concerned. So can I thank you? Can I thank my colleagues for their support? It is important that the education of primary education in the Swansea Valley will be enhanced and will be assured by the building of this school. Thank you, Leader.
Okay, thank you, Peter. Andrew, do you want to come back on any comments Peter's made?
No, I think if you're presumably, Leader, you're planning to finish off. So there are a couple of things I would like to tell Cabinet before you make your determination. There's been much mention within today and sort of consultation responses and different letters coming in saying this is a flawed consultation.
Andrew, can I just stop you there?
Yeah, of course you can.
Yeah, you pinching my spiel now.
I'll be quiet then, Leader.
Okay, right. I got no other questions from colleagues. Andrew, Councillor Sonia Reynolds, right at the start of the scrutiny committee, asked that nobody repeats or try not to repeat any questions that are already been said. And in all fairness to scrutiny committee, that was strictly adhered to. But I just need for you, Andrew, and for Karen. First of all, can you just reiterate that when we vote later, that this is the beginning of a process and not the end of a process, that we've still got other meetings to go to before we come to an ultimate decision. And the majority of the comments made during scrutiny all revolved around the tape and the consultation. Now, I know you've said it in scrutiny, but could I just have it clarified and reiterated here that we are on solid ground legally and that consultation will hold up before I ask my Cabinet colleagues to vote, please?
Do you want me to go respond, Karen?
I was going to come in on the assurance bit of it, Andrew, because
Okay,
I think to be fair to you, that's work that I commissioned, not yourself. I just repeat what I said in scrutiny committee, Leader. As you know, when the tape appeared back at the beginning of March, I asked that the consultation report be delayed in being placed before members, because I thought, given the level of public interest in this, that we should make sure we took additional assurances about the processes and the support our decision making around a number of our capital programme elements. And one of those was the process around school reorganisation, and specifically the process that we've gone through in relation to the Swansea Valley School proposals. So I'll just repeat again the words that I've taken out to the reports that are going to the Governance and Audit Committee next week. The Council can take overall assurance regarding systems and processes. And as I said in Scrutiny Committee, there are some recommendations about improving our record keeping to ensure meetings are accurately recorded to promote the interests of openness and transparency. So those are the conclusions that came from the work that Jack Straw and Rod Alcott did for me. I placed that report with the other reports before the Auditor General and the Public Services Ombudsman. The Auditor General said that he did not feel it necessary to undertake specific audit work at the present time. He notes the procedural and governance matters need to be addressed, and he's asked me for sight of the action plan that I'm putting to the committee next week. And he will look at the Public Service Ombudsman's report when that is due. The Public Services Ombudsman then advised me that he's not aware of any issue that would go against us bringing this report forward to you today. The rest of his investigation will focus only on the member, not on broader system or governance issues. So as far as I am concerned, from the work that I've done, Leader, I've got no reason to think that the process is nothing other than secure. Andrew's also taken 2 sets of opinion from legal counsel, and we've had the same advice from counsel that there are no grounds that we're aware of that would give a cause for successful legal challenge. So that's our position, Leader, on that. I think there was another comment that the Leader asked you to make, Andrew, which you're probably best placed to make.
Yeah, just on process. I said at the start, this isn't the end of it. We've been to consultation. If members approve this later today, then we will go out for a 28-day statutory period for objections. Those people who have taking part of the consultation exercise will be required to comment again and formally object. We will then prepare an objection report for members to be considered early in the autumn term, and that then, as far as Neath Talbot is concerned, if members decide to progress that recommendation, then that would be the final decision from this council's perspective if it was approved. So this is, if you like, the midpoint of the process, certainly not the final part of it. So there's no decision to close 3 schools being taken today. It is about progressing to the next stage of a statutory process, which we have followed many, many times, been tested 3 times in judicial review and not found wanting. But it is the period, statutory period for objections, 28 days. And that's what the recommendation suggests.
Okay, thank you, Andrew, and thank you, Karen. Peter, did you want to come back?
No, just to make the point that, we've been through this before, through this process. It's been tested. I wanted to emphasize, and Andrew just said, it's been tested within the judicial review system. We come out squeaky clean. And in fact, I think in one of the comments from one of the judicial reviews was that we went further than was necessary in our consultation. So we've been through it before, Leader. I'm perfectly happy that the procedure is watertight, quite frankly.
Okay, thank you, Peter. I don't see any other indications from colleagues. So before I go into the recommendation, Councillor Reynolds, as chair of the scrutiny committee, are you supportive of the change to the implementation of the decision as confirmed by Mr. Griffiths to allow for it to be implemented with immediate effect?
I am, Leader.
Okay, thank you. Thank you, Sonia. Okay, so if I can refer colleagues to the recommendations on page 36 of the report, and also to the IIA as detailed on page 28 and 29 of the report, and in agenda item 11. Craig, do I need to go through these recommendations A, B and C, or can we do them as one?
You can do them as one, Leader. You can take them all en masse if members are happy that way.
Okay, thank you very much. So the recommendations are there. Colleagues, I move the recommendations.
I second them, Leader.
Thank you. Are we all okay?
I can see no indications to the contrary, Leader.
Thank you very much, Jane. So that's that one then.
That's been carried, yes, Leader.
Yeah, thank you very much, Jane. Agenda item 6 is urgent items. I don't have any urgent items. Before I actually close the meeting, could I just request Karen, Alan Lockyer, Andrew Jarrett, Deputy, and Craig stay on with me after this call, please? And can I once again thank all participants from 2 o'clock on, what are we, 3.5 hours now? Particularly you, Andrew, your stamina levels are immense, my friend.
Leader, can I suggest that you hold your meeting and as a new calendar invite?
No, Jane, we haven't got time. Honestly, people need to leave the call. We've got to do something urgently.
Okay. Right, thank you for that. So on that note then, like I said, thanks to everybody. Thanks to you, Sonia, for chairing this afternoon. Thanks to all the contributions made earlier during the scrutiny committee. And that will, I'll end the business for today and declare the meeting closed.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Take care.